എന്താ പ്രശ്നം? Good evening to all of you, my friends, at Pondicherry University. It is indeed a privilege for me to take part in your event, Shabd, in memory of our great leader, first Prime Minister of India, Sri Jawaharlal Nehru. I am taking this opportunity, first of all, to apologize to all of you. The world has seen. If people ask me, what is the favorite statement which I like, which Nehru has ever made, I would say his quote, which states that who dies if India lives, and who lives if India dies. So the entire idea of India is embodied in those two lines. That India is essential for every of our survival. Each of us embodies India, and India is embodied in all of us. So essentially, for our survival, India should be there. And if India is there, no one will ever die. Since his idea was that India should never die, he followed the policy of secularism. We know in 1947, country had just attained freedom. So after attaining freedom, a string of communal riots took place across the country. Bengal and Punjab and parts of Delhi, riots were taking place. Throughout the country, riots were taking place. Mahatma Gandhi took all his efforts to ensure that riots subside. So, adding to Mahatma's efforts was the support given by Nehruji. So, Nehru was a true successor of Gandhiji. So, Gandhiji had said that he will speak my language. Nehru will speak my language. Essentially, he led India for 17 years, that he was truly secular. He led the country in the secular path. But our secularism, as you know, is different from the idea of, or the European idea of secularism. Our idea of secularism is acceptance of all religions. Not rejection of religion, but acceptance of religions. So that is why, if you find that even when the constitution was formed, the word secularism never was there in the preamble. But the country was totally secular because of the approach of Jawaharlal Nehru. So in spite of the violence, in spite of the communal riots all across the country, Nehru's policy brought in peace. Nehru's secular idea combined with spirituality. Spirituality is the biggest motivator for secularism. Tribes are there, but all of us are united by the idea of India, which Nehru propagated. So Nehru's India was always secular. So if you ask me what is the biggest contribution of Nehru for us, is secularism. After the partition riots, which was quite big in scale, we were able to survive as one country. You know that many of our colonizers thought we will be a failed state. We will be a failed state like Pakistan. We will be a failed state like many of the African countries. We will be after attaining freedom, we will fight with each other and destroy our freedom. But that was not to happen, because we had a visionary leader called Jawaharlal Nehru. A leader makes all the difference. You know, we should be proud of our leader who accepted differences, who said, I should be criticized, who said that cartoons should be more rigorous on him. When cartoons are drawn, they should take his case. That was his approach. He didn't gag the media. He didn't stop the criticism. Even when the leaders of his own party criticized in the parliament, he accepted with dignity. You understand what a democrat Nehru was? He allowed his own partymen to criticize him. He allowed people of different ideologies to be part of his cabinet. The first cabinet had a lot of people with different ideologies, or different opinions, not only Congress party people. You had Shyam Prasad Mukherjee. You had B.R. Ambedkar. A lot of people from varied backgrounds. That is the idea of India. You can't ignore anyone. You are taking everyone together. That was Nehru. That is what we are celebrating today. Today, we are celebrating him because we had a leader who accepted differences. And because of this acceptance of differences, whether it is with regard to language, whether it is with regard to religion, whether it is with regard to region, India stayed together. Why is Pakistan a failed state? Because they couldn't accept differences. Many of the African countries, they are a failed state. Why? Because they can't accept differences. Each community fights for supremacy. So, his policies of secularism, unification, was peaceful in nature and in accordance with Mahatma's wish. That is why Mahatma prophesied that he will be speaking my language. Most important of that is Constitution. Constitution is another contribution of Nehru for India. Nehru's contribution of this Constitution. You will never see a Constitution anywhere in the world which is encompassing all the foreseeable conflicts in its pages. Everything is there. Every single aspect of problem which may arise has been accommodated for. So that is another reason India is still a strong modern nation. Our constitution, he wrote the preamble for that. How does the preamble begin? We, the people of India. So there is no difference. He speaks about we, the people. Everyone is equal. That is why everyone had equal voting rights. Another reason why India is even now stable, from the beginning, everyone had equal voting rights. So his philosophies, his principles influence the subsequent leaders also. You see, underlying philosophy of Indian state is from Jawaharlal Nehru. That is why Rajiv Gandhi, when he was Prime Minister, he took special care of Atal Bihari Vajpayee which has been stated by Atal Bihari Vajpayee himself, that when he was in need of a health support, he ensured that he received the best in the world. That is the spirit with which Narasimha Rao, our former Prime Minister, sent then leader of opposition, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, to represent India's interest in 1990s to the World Forum. That unfairly, which has never been proven and which can be ever proven, because he was a totally uncorrupt person. So the Nehruvian legacy continues even now. Another important aspect is foreign policy. You know why many of our African countries, African friends, as well as Asian friends, they failed. That is due to their foreign policy. So we should thank Nehru for inventing this policy of non-alignment. Now, alignment is not a big issue. But in 90s, till up to 90s, when Cold War was raging, alignment was an issue. So many of the newly formed nations, they allied with either the Western Bloc or the Soviet Bloc. So that indeed had repercussions for their country's integrity, all the political affairs. So Nehruji very carefully crafted our foreign policy in such a way that we could stay non-aligned. We could stay not being part of any conflict. So foreign policy, of which he crafted it very carefully, helped India to stay away from conflicts, to keep our integrity and unity. For example, if you look at Pakistan itself, you can see intervention of US very, very evident, which has had repercussions for its borders, as well as whatever terrorist activity happens there targets basically the US bases. So it is indeed the foreign policy of India which kept India safe from rivalry between both camps. And even now, it is a guiding light for any conflict. Any conflict in the modern era can be solved with the idea of punch seal, which Nehruji had agreed with Chinese principle. Now you see, the current regime is finding it difficult to even deal with China. In an era where India was not very strong defense in the area of defense, we still managed to fend off China in the war, which ensued later. But today, even our borders are not safe. Also, what is another aspect of Nehru which kept our country safe and even now safe is his love for the farmers, his concern for the farmers. He has said that if the agriculture fails, then the nation as well as the government fail. He understood a developing country like India can't afford to lose its farmers. A developing country like India has to protect its farmers. A developing country like India has to protect agriculture. Agriculture is the backbone of the country. Even now, we are in the stage where agriculture is our backbone. So, at that point of time, when India was not self-sufficient, he made the 5-year plans. He ensured that our agriculture sector is developed. He built dams so that water can be provided for agriculture. He ensured that it is protected. The agriculturists are protected. But to the extent that he called dams the modern temples. Modern temples of India are the dams. So his love can be again seen from the fact that he wrote in his last will that when my body is buried or put to flames, part of it should be taken to Ganges and dispersed there. But rest of it, majority of it, should be dispersed to the farms so that it mixes in those farms. That is his respect, his love for the agriculturist. That was what kept our country, that has kept our country safe till now. Sadly, the current government is destroying all that. Farm laws, they are changing for the interest of corporates. Corporates, have they any kind of love for the farmers? Sadly, we have to say there is no love for them. They will try to maximize the profit at the cost of the agriculturist, the farmer, the farm laborer. They suffer. So it is indeed essential that Nehruvian policy of protection for farmers should continue. But fortunately, we have a leader in Rahul Gandhi who has taken a lot of efforts to protect the rights of farmers, who is taking a lot of pain to protect the farmers from the modern or the new laws of this government, which lack foresight totally. The laws of NDA lacks foresight. It is only for the current situation which benefits all the corporate majors. And finally speaking, when you speak of Nehruji, we can't forget the institutions he built, the AIIMS, the IITs, the space program, the dams essentially have spoken. So each and every progress we have made can be attributed to Jawaharlal Nehru. His scientific mind, his rational ideas, while respecting every religion of this country. Also, the nuclear policy, which he had started, has enabled us to be in the nuclear missile or the nuclear club. So, as we remember Jawaharlal Nehru, a man without parallels, a man whose contribution to this country cannot be forgotten, a man who can be correctly termed father of the modern India, the man who protected each and every person, irrespective of the caste, creed, or community or tribe, a man for whom everyone's civil liberty was important, a man for whom everyone's right to speak, freedom of expression was important, a man for whom differences was an essential ingredient of democracy. Today, we remember him. World recognizes his value. World understands these are the principles of India. The Indian principles are 7,000-year-old. Let us not forget. These principles on which our constitution has been built, the principles on which India is going ahead, principles on which Nehru stood are 7,000 years old. The Indian idea of accepting all. Whosoever has come to India, they have been accepted by India. Starting from all the tribes which have come, Sakas, Parthians, Scythians, all the people, all, if you term a large number of groups of people are there. Everyone. Except for the British, every other group has stayed on and been part of this country, has contributed to the development of country. So acceptance is the principle of India for last 7,000 years. Nehruji understood it and followed that policy, ensured that we remain a secular country accepting all the traditions. I'm indeed honored, privileged to speak on Jawaharlal Nehru, one of the greatest Indian politicians. It is with heavy heart, but I have to say, we are forgetting some of his principles. We are forgetting the path he had shown us. We have to go back to what he showed us. We have to be on the path of forgiveness. We have to be on the path of acceptance. We have to be on the path of protection of our farmers. Let us pledge on his day that we will follow his path so that our country remain united, our country is strong, our country remains unchallenged, our country emerges as a world leader. If you look at it, wherever Nehru went, whether it was US or Russia or any other country, you could see people lined on the streets